Hi guys, Mr. 2 Nook here, and welcome to a new video series that I may start if they release more videos. Today I'm going to be doing a review of a U-Shoot video that involved Amazing Kong, or as she's also known, Awesome Kong, and Kharma, or Kai Stevens. And this is a U-Shoot video, and for those of you who don't know what a U-Shoot video is, it's where U-Shoots gets the host sits down with, they're mainly just former wrestlers, divas, knockouts, TNA, independent, WWE, WWF, former stars, and fans send in questions, they send in videos, and they answer the questions truthfully and on the spot. And the video goes for about an hour and a half, and I've always been interested to see what actually happens in these U-Shoot videos, because I've always seen the previews, but I've never watched any of these entire videos. So I thought I'd do a review of it to kind of tell people who are also interested in these videos what it's actually about, and if it's worth it, and if you're interested in getting them, well, here's what to expect from it. So this one cost $15, and this is just for watching it on your computer, and you can get DVD copies sent out to you, and they're an extra like $5 or $10, I think, so $20 to $25. I think it depends on how recent they are and how big of a star they are. I don't know, but most of them were only $15, I noticed. And yeah, so the beginning of the video kind of starts off talking about her Kong's earlier days, her like start, and what got her into wrestling, and being in Japan. And I'm not going to cover any of that. There was some good interesting stories she had, but mainly my videos here just covered divas and knockouts, so I thought I'd just cover mainly most of that stuff, because I mean, that's what I was really interested in. I've listened to a lot of interviews with her, and if you've listened to any interviews, she does talk about a lot of stuff that she talks about in interviews, because she essentially gets asked a lot of the same questions, but there's a lot of different ones and interesting questions that involve WWE and TNA, so I'm just going to cover them. Again, if you want to watch the entire thing, you just have to purchase it, but let's get started. And they have little segments throughout the video, and the first lot of segments, it's called The Hoe Bag and What a Dick, and essentially it's them talking about wrestlers and people backstage. So like the hoe bag is the females, so your knockouts and divas and that, and they basically just say the name, and she says whether she likes them or if they go on the hoe bag, so they're like, she doesn't like them. And just to say this now, no divas made the hoe bag. They mentioned a lot of divas: Brie Bella, Nikki Bella, Kelly Kelly, Maurice, Michelle McCool. She's fun with all them. And there was a couple that kind of shocked me. So the first one she said was a hoe, and she didn't hesitate. The host noticed she didn't hesitate, was Madison Rain, which kind of shocked me. And there's a couple of other things that she talks about later on that kind of makes me think there is a reason why she doesn't like her. But yeah, Madison Rain was the first one. Rebe Sky, or Rebby Sky, I don't know how you say her name. She's one who, if you don't know who she is Matt Hardy's girlfriend. Lacey Von Erich, surprise, surprise. Becky Bayless, anyone who doesn't know her, that's Cookie, formerly known as Cookie in TNA. And that was kind of like a joke thing she kind of did. She kind of made sure people knew like she was only joking around with Becky Bayless about that. Raka Khan, and if you've seen the preview, she completely flips her lid when Raka Khan's name pops up, even before her name is even shown on the screen. Talking about how, I think it's her aunt or something, she owes her aunt or her mother or something money for looking after a kid. So she's not a big fan of Raka Khan. Tracy Brooks, which I was shocked about. She did also say Karen Jarrett or Karen Angle, whatever she goes by. They didn't get along for a while, and now they're okay. Same with Jeff Jarrett. She didn't really answer. I don't think she answered to Jeff Jarrett either. She just kind of wouldn't say much about that. So something's obviously happened there. Dixie Carter was another one that they brought up, and she hesitated for a while on that, and she said she goes into the hoe bag, but she's in a different type of... She's a different type of hoe. And the Dicks, which were essentially just the guys, there was no WWE guys. They said John Cena, CM Punk, Randy Orton, all the big names in that. She had no problem with them. But the ones that made it were... the only one she really said was a dick was Brian Knobbs. For those of you who don't know him, congratulations. He was the only one she really named. The others were, it depends, she said. They can be nice, they can be dicks. And they were Bully Ray, Samoa Joe, and Scott Steiner. And that was it with that. And they did do other little segments. They do other segments throughout the hour and a half. There's something called Fuck, Marry, or Kill, which they done about 3 or 4 of them. Which they just give her 3 people, and she's got to fuck one, kill one, or marry one. They're quite funny. She also talked about Bubba the Love Sponge, about the incident that happened, and like her leaving TNA. And she said it was more or less, it wasn't only that kind of led to her attacking him like she did. She was going to talk to him, and it was a lot of little things that like led up to it. She didn't say exactly what they were, but she said it wasn't only him, it was other people. And she also mentioned that he did threaten a young worker. Now, he wasn't a worker who worked for TNA, he worked for Universal Studios, and he'd been threatening him and getting a lot of heat on this kid who, for some reason, was getting heat on him through Bubba the Love Sponge. And of course no one wanted to really mess with him because he was good friends with Hulk Hogan. And yeah, and she kind of saw it like he was bullying this kid, he was mentioning him on his radio show and all that. So yeah, she wasn't too happy with that. And then she did eventually try to talk to him, but Hulk Hogan was around. She didn't want to say anything in front of Hulk Hogan. So she kind of saw him by himself, and at this point she said she'd already snapped, saw him and just ran at him and attacked him. And she said as soon as she started hitting him, like, she kind of knew she was done with TNA, and that's kind of when she left TNA. He left as well, got fired, and she just went away. She was also asked about another question was also asked about the Awesome Bomb. Who did she enjoy giving it to most? And she said Nikki Roxx, who's also known as Roxy. And she said that I know she can take it and not bitch about it. And this is where she said many of the girls, she didn't give any names though, didn't like taking the bump because they didn't know how exactly to take it. She said they weren't tucking their head in properly and were hurting themselves and complaining a lot. And she said that happened a lot with a lot of different girls, so we don't know who they were. I'm thinking maybe Madison Rain may be one of them, which may be why she put her in the hoe bag, but there's, other reasons why she may have done that. But it was around Madison Rain, the Beautiful People's kind of reign in TNA, that kind of led to her using the Implant Buster a lot more than what she did with the Awesome Bomb. And she did talk about that as well, about how a no-named knockout, or not knockout, a no-name female, who we don't know if it was WWE or TNA, but I'm guessing TNA, kind of manipulated her into using the Implant Buster as her finisher more than the Powerbomb. Kind of, she said the girl told her the Implant Buster looks a lot more effective, it looks more devastating, and she kind of believed her and was like, oh yeah, it does. And then realised, a couple months later realised, I've just been tricked into not giving her that move. So I'm thinking it may be Madison Rain, just throwing that out there. She also confirmed that she did kick a guy's ass in 2009. For anyone that doesn't know, sometime, I'm not sure if this was straight after Bound for Glory or a week later, but she did attack. It was alleged that she had beat up some guy at a bar for disrespecting her boyfriend slash her boyfriend at the time, and she did confirm that that did happen, and it was a fan just asking for an autograph, and she said she kindly said, "I'll gladly sign that for you, I just want to finish my conversation." And then the fan disappeared, came back, and was drunk and started talking shit to her boyfriend, and then started talking shit to her, and that's when she attacked him and sent him down a flight of stairs. So all that did happen. It wasn't false rumors or anything. Someone also asked, was there ever a time that a company or promotion didn't pay you on payday? And she laughed about it and said TNA. So there you go. She also talked about there's like a ritual every time she won the Knockouts champion, or every time she wins a title now, she says she has a personal stripper that she has, and yeah, so that happens. And that was a funny little story. And she talked about tricking some of the guys to thinking it was a female stripper, and they would come down and run out the room. So there's that. So she was asked a question about who WWE should sign who they haven't signed before, and the only one she came up with was Mike Bennett. For anyone who doesn't know who he is, he works the independent scene, he works Ring of Honor, and he's also known as Maria, former diva, her boyfriend, and she just said he's a good worker and he kind of deserves to be there. And she also mentioned something I didn't know, that Dutch Mantel was with TNA at one point. And for anyone who doesn't know who he is Zeb Coulter in WWE right now, managing Jack Swagger and that other Antonio Cesaro, the We the People. He was in TNA, and he was kind of in charge of the Knockouts division type of thing. And she said once he left, the Knockouts went to shit, and things just started to go bad from there. She said she also was asked about the Divas. She said they were very nice. They welcomed her with open arms and all that. And she kind of thought it was going to be a lot more catty, but it wasn't. And she was also asked about who came up with the name Kharma. And I have heard, listened to interviews where she's talked about this before. And I'm pretty sure she said it was her boyfriend that came up with it, or a fiance that came up with the name. But in this one she said it was her, so I'm still unsure whether it was her or him, but I'm pretty much to believe that it was her, considering she just said it in this. She was also asked about the Divas Championship, and if she ever won the title, would she consider redesigning it? And she said she didn't like it. She called it an ugly ass butterfly, and she'd want to make a championship that would make the fans at least happy, and something that she would be proud to carry around. She was also asked about the Kelly storyline and where that was heading, and she said she had no idea where it was going. The fans said it was coming off like, was it going more of a lesbian kind of vibe, and she had no idea it was coming off on TV like that. She kind of said that from her understanding, it was coming off, what the whole thing was coming off like was more like King Kong, like the movie, where she was Kong and Kelly was the girl, and no one else was allowed to touch her, and only she was allowed to mess around with her. So that's where she thought it was heading. She was also asked about getting heat for dislocating Alicia Fox's shoulder, injuring her and that on SmackDown, and she said she never dislocated her shoulder, she only bruised it. It was a rough bump, and she got no hate for it by anyone, unless it was behind her back. She doesn't know. But she said to her face she had no hate, she wasn't in trouble for it, and Alicia Fox was a bit shaken up by taking the bump, but she was professional about it, and they're okay. She was also asked about did WWE drop the ball on her, and she said no, and she clammed up a bit and said that there's a story that no one knows, and she isn't ready to speak about it. And then she also talked about she's just got to get some personal stuff sorted, and once she's physically and mentally ready to go, we could see Kharma back in WWE. And she has said this in a couple of interviews about returning to WWE, that it's just got to be the right time and that, and she did say all that again in this one. And then one of the last things was she was asked about her dream match, and it was her opponent, the venue, and the stipulation. And her opponent she chose was Beth Phoenix at Madison Square Garden with no stipulation. And yeah, so that was her dream match, and that was about all that, well, not all, but that's about 5-10 minutes of what actually made up the entire 1.5 hours. So I've just covered all that stuff. There was some really interesting stuff. She has a fun personality. She's very entertaining. She also spoke about Awesome, like when she was in TNA, about Awesome Kong actually speaking, and she said she didn't know how the character would sound, because she's got such a higher pitch voice, and she couldn't really do a low pitch voice, so she was the one who kind of wanted to be silent and not really talk. And she does go into a lot more detail about that type of stuff. She talks about her wardrobe malfunction at Bound for Glory, and there's a bunch of other stuff. So if you want to find out more and really want to watch the whole thing and watch everything like that she talks about, just order it from, I think it's kayfabecommentaries.com. And yeah, so I hope this has helped at least someone decide whether they want to watch these videos. I'm not the most exciting person about talking about this type of stuff. I don't sound that excited about talking about it, but it was quite good. I enjoyed it for what it was, and I'm not going to give it a rating or anything, but yeah, like I said, it's a review. She talked about a lot of good stuff, but I wasn't going to cover it all. So if you want to order it, go right ahead. I definitely recommend it to anyone who's a fan of hers. And maybe if they do other former Knockouts or Divas, because they never do current girls or anything, I may do another one like this where I talk about all the stuff they talked about. And yeah, so thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys with another video very soon. I do have a couple more videos planned. I might talk about the Total Divas show, and maybe some news that's come about in the world of women's wrestling. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Okay. I was gonna say maybe you with that rib we were talking about.
Oh
before,
yeah,
huh?
that Awesome Kong. Amazing.